Sneakers and Fur Coats, the number one podcast brought to you by Bo Skaggs, Jody P, and Bo Skaggs. It's wonderful. Sneakers and fur coats. 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 We got Jody P. Sneakers and fur coats. They call me Bo Skaggs. Sneakers and fur coats. 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 True hip hop, health, wealth, the Bible, conspiracies and everything else. We got sneakers and fur coats. Sneakers and fur coats. Jody P, Bo Skaggs. Sneakers and fur coats.
All right. You are now listening to the number one podcast on the internet, Sneakers and Fur Coats. I'm your boy, Bo Skaggs, along with my girl, your girl, the number one host on the internet. Make some noise for Jody P.
Thank you very much, Bo Skaggs. I really appreciate that warm welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, I am Jody P, a.k.a. Joe Show.
Thanks.
And I would just like to say I am just so honored to be one of only two people who have had you as a hype man, me and the legendary Jam Master Jay.
Right.
I mean, that's really like epic. I feel really lit right now. And we're going to have to do a show about that, about your days with the Jam Master.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We definitely have to do that. I mean, your escapades are just bar none.
Right.
I mean, these are the untold stories, the most insider stories, and they are really just amazing stories. Well, you definitely have to write a book. You must.
I will.
Must.
I thought about it, but yeah. So before we kick this one off, I just want to let everybody know, if you're a Christian artist and you want to have your song played on the Sneakers and Fur Coats podcast, what you need to do is send your music to jnbstudios@yahoo.com. That's JANDB as in boy studios@yahoo.com, and we will listen and get you a spin on the number one podcast on the internet, which is Sneakers and Fur Coats. And before we get started, I do want to send a rest in peace shout to my boy Justice Howell. He passed away. He's a really, really good friend of mine. We used to play ball together back in the days. He was a really, really good dude. Always bubbly, always happy, always fun. He had some health issues, and he's no longer with us. But I just want to say, big rest in peace to my boy Jess, man.
Rest in peace, Jess. That's so sad. My dad always told me, Jody, life is hard, and the sooner you can accept and embrace that, the easier life will be. Like when we lose people, it's just like, it's really the worst thing in life. It's worse than anything else. So.
Right. We getting to that age where, I'm getting to that age where, a lot of my friends are going. And,
me too.
It's just getting to the point where, you just gotta learn how to just deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And it's never easy, but,
Well, you need your faith.
Yeah, you definitely
That's
need your
key.
faith.
That's key. Without faith, without a spiritual foundation, death is just too overwhelming for people to handle. You need the blessed hope, which is Christ Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. So this is maybe a story that some people might have been familiar with. Her name is Casey Anthony. And she just actually did a TikTok recently. Now, this is the female who was let off for allegedly killing her daughter, Kaylee. I think we just
her
think
2-year-old.
Her 2-year-old. This is a very interesting situation. She just put a post on TikTok actually saying that she's an advocate for for people that are like wrongly accused or whatever. Like I think it's just like the silliest thing in the world. For her, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, they lit her up on TikTok. I mean, every single post, they are just. I mean, people are enraged. They are flabbergasted that she would have the audacity. I mean, it's just the audacity, simply. I mean,
right.
She's truly just a monster. So for those of you who don't know, because that was back in so it happened in 2008.
2008.
The trial took place in 2011.
Right.
So, if you were younger in 2011, you might not have really known about it, or, maybe you weren't born yet. So, but yeah, that was just the trial of the century. I mean, literally, it was just so cut and dried that she murdered her little baby. And it wasn't just that she murdered her. She just did it so callously, and she just was so, she was just so devoid of empathy, Right. But so that's in a nutshell what happened. But so basically she comes on TikTok and she's trying to reinvent herself as an advocate, and everyone was like, nope.
It's not happening.
Nope.
It's not happening.
You will not be reinventing yourself. America knows who you are. I mean, you truly have to have no feelings, and you have to be completely, literally shameless to be able to come back out and have the nerve to try to reinvent yourself as if you're a victim.
Right. She's wants to give legal advice because she's been, because she's been on that side of the legal system, I guess.
Right. As if she's an advocate. No, you were in prison.
Right. You're a murderer.
Right. You're a murderer who should still be in prison.
Right. So basically, like her kid was missing for 31 days. She didn't report her kid missing. Instead,
for 31 days.
For 31 days. So instead of reporting her kid missing, she went out, partied, for 31 days. For 31 days. She partied for 31 days straight, had fun, was telling her parents.
I mean, she wasn't just partying. Like, she was partying it up. Like, she was in, getting tattoos. She was in contests. She was like dancing provocatively with other women at clubs. She was,
dancing on the bar. Like, she was on the bars.
Right. All while her little baby was in the trunk of her car.
Right.
Dismembered.
Which is ridiculous.
Preposterous.
So she, all right, so her child's missing for 31 days. She tells everyone that her kid is with Zanny the nanny. Now, when I first heard them say Zanny the nanny, and the lady name was supposed to have been like Zendia Gonzalez.
Zenaida or something.
Zenaida Gonzalez or something like that. And she kept saying, yeah, she's with Zanny the nanny.
Well, first she said Zenaida. She's with Zenaida Fernandez or something. I think that was what she said her name was.
Right. Zenaida Gonzalez.
Oh, Gonzalez. Right.
Zenaida Gonzalez. And then she was like, yeah, she's with Zanny the nanny. So I didn't put two and two together when I was listening, you know what I mean? But until I started thinking,
I didn't pick up on that
so I'm thinking
at all.
Zanny the nanny, Zannies are Xanax. So Zanny is a street name for Xanax.
Right.
So Zanny the nanny. So she was drugging her kid, basically, is what she said. She was just saying it blatantly, like, yeah, she's with Zanny the nanny.
Right.
Like.
Right, and they didn't pick up on that.
Right. No one did, because it was
right. Because she
slick.
had a real name, Zenaida Gonzalez.
Right.
Her name's Zenaida Gonzalez. She lives at such and such address in this apartment. She has 2 roommates. She's about 25.
Right.
I mean, she just had a whole backstory for Zanny.
Right. Then they go to the apartment and no one lives there.
No one. It was vacant. It had been vacant for 3 months. Whereas she said Zanny the nanny stole the baby 31 days ago.
Right. Right.
But yet it's been vacant 3 months, and no one by the name of Zenaida Gonzalez had ever resided in that complex.
Right. So she's just really, she was a really nasty person.
She's just a narcissist, though. But it's not just that she was an evil person. There are a lot of evil people. She was evil, but she was also beautiful. That was really on her side.
Right.
In one way, that was on her side. That, of course, gave her favor, but also it made people notice this case, and it made the case much more high profile.
Right, right.
So it was not in her favor in that sense. However, she was just heartless because she was such a great actor. I mean, just such a great actor. And she just shamelessly, tried to flip it and say her dad did it.
Right. So first,
her dad that was supporting her through this whole thing.
Right. So first, what she did was when the police came to question her, she sent them on like a wild goose chase. She told them that she worked at Universal Studios.
Right.
And that
But she also told her parents that she was working at Universal Studios for 3 years.
Right. So then the police.
But she never worked at Universal Studios ever.
Right. So no, she did, but she had got fired 3 years ago or something like that.
That's what I thought when I heard her. That's what they said originally, but then later they said she never worked there.
Right. She never worked
that
there.
She'd been telling her parents she worked there, but unless they were saying that she was telling her parents that she still worked there. Maybe that's what it was.
Right. So then
maybe I misunderstood.
So what the police did was they took her to Universal Studios, and when she got there, she couldn't even get in. Like, they didn't even know who she was. They didn't want to let her in. So finally they let her in. She's walking through the hallways, like waving at people.
Waving to strangers, and they're looking at her strange. But see, the funny part is the cops already knew. They took her there to see her reaction,
right,
and to see how she was going to respond.
Right. So she went through all of that, and
finally they get to the end of a hallway, and there's nowhere to turn, and she's like, turns around and says, "Oh, okay, listen, I never, I don't work here.
Right.
I worked here a long time ago or something. I don't work here anymore."
Right. So then she kept, trying to,
and that's the day she got arrested. They
right.
took her back to interrogate her, and she just, stuck to the story. She's taking it to the grave. She's one of those.
Right. So she's
like the cheater boyfriend that's taking it to the grave. No matter what evidence you have, you know what I mean? It's right in your face, but they're taking it to the grave, and she is that person.
Now, mind you, she did have a boyfriend, and she was staying with him, partying with him the whole time. Never once mentioned that her kid was missing
for 31 days.
Never once even act like she was sad or
never cried,
distraught. Never cried. Never
shed a tear.
Never cared about it. Not one bit in 31 days.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to a normal person, but that's really what this situation is. She's not normal. She is a narcissist, and narcissists are not normal.
Yeah,
they are not normal.
I just don't see how somebody could and then she tried to blame it on her dad. So what make it even sicker is that she got with the lawyer, Jose, whatever his name is. Jose Baez. And she started.
What a disgusting animal he is.
She started sleeping with him.
Yeah, he is so gross.
Yeah, she's
so gross.
Yeah, she's probably like one of the worst people to ever walk the face of the earth.
It would be one thing if she just faded off into oblivion, but to have the nerve. First, she did that documentary where she accused her father and brother of sexually molesting her. How cruel can you be? First, you killed your baby. Right? Then your parents, their world is turned upside down. Their world will never be the same. You killed their grandchild that they cherished. And now you couldn't leave well enough alone. You wanted to be back in the spotlight. You wanted to get more attention, and you wanted to put yourself in a positive light. So you come out and do a documentary on Peacock and say that your dad was molesting you.
Then your dad and your mom do a lie detector tests, and they both pass.
Right, that was 1 year ago.
Right, and they both passed a lie detector test. And I think that you can't be tried for the same crime twice.
Double jeopardy.
But with all this information, with her cellmates are coming out saying that she told them that she did things. What was the one you was just looking at, her latest cellmate?
So no, that was actually an old one. That was from 14 years ago. So that must have been right after it happened. And she told the girl that she did it. She told her that she would put the little girl, I didn't even listen to the whole video, but I mean, the girl sounded very believable. And she said she told her that she would put the girl to sleep with chloroform. She probably started out with Xanax, and that was one of the theories that I saw someone, he said he had that theory from the beginning. She probably was using Xanax and then lost access to it, like she didn't have any. So she looked up how to make chloroform and started using that, and this last time she gave her a lethal dose. Is probably what happened.
I mean, I know when I was young, you know, my mom and my dad would give me like beer. And that would put me down. You know what I'm saying? They would give me like a couple of sips of Ballantine ale, and I'd be out for the count.
Not Ballantine,
because my dad drunk Ballantine ale. That was his thing. So they give me a couple sips of Ballantine ale, and it'll be lights out. Chloroform, that is something that is like that's the death drug. Like that's.
Well, they give that to people when they put them out. Like, I remember back in, I want to say this would have been the early 80s, even the late 70s in the Pittsburgh area. They had someone or maybe a group of people who were kidnapping children from the malls. And they would just put chloroform on their faces, and then they'd immediately, they would be out. So then they would like take them out of the mall and like have the person's arm around their neck, and they'd basically be dragging them out of the mall, propping them up, and then stick them in a van, and that was it for them.
Oh, that's yeah.
But you do wake up from it, usually.
Well, little Kaylee didn't wake up, man.
Well, she was 2 years old. She was a tiny little girl.
Right, and then she threw her body in the woods, and then just so happened a guy who checks the meters just happened to find her.
Right, and then she tried to pin it on him too. But the thing of it is, here's my thing. Why the duct tape on her mouth if she was just putting her to sleep to go to the club?
Well, maybe the chloroform didn't even kill her. Maybe she slapped the duct tape and all that around her mouth to kill her. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like maybe that time she decided she didn't want her. And maybe it was a half-truth, Yeah. Maybe she said it was an accident. But then why the duct tape? Right.
I mean, the nasty part about it is just her pointing the blame at everyone. I mean, the real nasty part is that, the prosecutors, they dropped the ball. Like, they didn't ask none of the right questions.
That's infuriating.
I mean, it was just a terrible display of, like, the prosecution was just like...
They were incompetent.
Now, if that was somebody, I've been arrested for things and they tried to hang me for, like, drugs and a gun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this girl, like, killed her baby and she got off.
It's sickening. It's absolutely... I mean, there are so many people, so many innocent people in jail, and she's the one that should go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, she should have death row. Like, she should be on death row. She should have definitely gotten the death penalty, which she would have gotten in Florida had it not been for her mother.
Her mother definitely helped her
escape the death penalty. Yeah, and I feel like she regrets it now.
She probably, I can tell that from what I've seen, she definitely does, because her kid is like a narcissist for real in the worst form.
Right.
But the funny thing is that
ruthless. She's ruthless.
Like, whenever I've been caught up in the legal system and I've seen somebody else in there for something like with children or like minors, like, they never get like real serious crimes. Like, they never get serious time for it. Like, I seen a guy in court, and he, like, molested a girl. She was like, got pregnant, like, had a baby. And she was in there, like, reading a letter saying how much he ruined her life. And they gave him like a year and a half in jail, and he had to like register to Megan's Law when he got out. Like, I mean, like, the girl's there. She's crying. Her parents are there, devastated. This guy, like, raped her, got her pregnant. And he only went to jail for, like, 18 months and then got out.
It's so gross.
And then, I was there, for like possession of a firearm and was looking at 9.5 years in jail. You know what I mean? Which is disgusting. You know what I'm saying?
It's totally disgusting. And there's an agenda there. And that's a whole other can of worms. And that's another show. But the big picture is they are trying to legalize pedophilia. Yes. And hence they want to soften up the laws against pedophiles and crimes against children, which is just sickening because they're the most innocent, the most innocent in society.
Right. It kind of almost feels like, do any crime and go to jail forever, but do a crime with a child involved and you can get off.
Right.
It kind of like promotes like, hey, if you want to do crime and go and get home, do this crime.
Right. It's pure evil. It's the devil's agenda.
It's sick. It's sickening.
It's
man.
sickening.
And the fact that Casey, it was so much evidence,
so much
that pointed to her, killing her kid. Like, I mean, the fact that she tried to blame it on the dad and say that the kid was found face down in the pool. It was so many inconsistencies in her story that it didn't even make sense. Like, I mean, a blind person could have seen that, and then the jury was. I mean, like, I don't even understand how the jury could like drop the ball on that. Like, it was so disrespectful.
Well, I will
how they
say
could
this:
drop the ball on that.
The defense attorney, as vile and low of a vermin that he was very smart and he was very good.
He was good.
And he most definitely created reasonable doubt. But also, I really think that the prosecution felt like they had it in the bag. That's what I'm thinking. I feel like this was just such a cut and dried case. It was so obvious. She told so many lies. Right. And there was so much incriminating evidence, even though they couldn't find the body. I feel like they probably just thought, oh, this is an easy case.
Right. And in the prosecution, they only wanted, like first degree murder. They wasn't happy with getting a bunch of other charges that
right.
they had. They could have at least got 15 to 20 years out of Shorty, at least.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just for the crimes that she did. But she wound up getting sentenced to like 4 years and already had 3.5 years. She did 10 days in jail extra after the trial.
I mean, she did a few years. Yeah, I mean, she was in
years.
Right.
She did years awaiting trial.
Right.
She did about
for 3 years.
Yeah, she did about 3 years awaiting trial. But when she got sentenced, it was only 10 days left on that.
Right. That was.
I mean,
just,
that's.
It was unjust, but you know what? She will stand before God, and she's going to have a lot of explaining to do. So is that attorney.
Now that you mentioned God, we're going to get into our verse of the day. Let me go ahead and pull this up from the King James version of the Bible, the only one that you should be reading. Let me just pull this up. Give me 1 second. Trying to find my Bible.
While you're looking that up, I would just like to say one last thing about that. The most sickening part of the case is her parents wanted to watch the baby. They lived together with the parents. There was no reason for her to take them. And that girl that was her cellmate 14 years ago in that interview said that she was jealous, that she said she used to get all the attention. And then all of a sudden, when Kaylee was born, her parents just only focused on Kaylee. Right. And that is just simply disgusting.
All right, so here's the verse of the day. It's John 14:6 in the KJV. Jesus saith unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. I mean, that is powerful.
That's one of the most powerful verses in the Bible. I mean, he is everything. He is the way, he is the truth, and he is life.
Right. So the thing is, like, a lot of people who are not saved, they think that, and even some people that, do believe in Jesus and do believe in God, they think that you can just do good deeds and then you get to heaven, right? But that says you will not get to heaven. The only way through to heaven is through Jesus. So you have to confess, you have to be saved, you have to confess that Jesus is the Lord with your mouth and believe it in your heart, and that will be the only way you'll be able to get to heaven. That's it.
Except a man be born again, he cannot enter the kingdom of heaven.
And as simple as that, It's not your good deeds. It's not how many people you helped out.
Right, because all have sinned and fell short of the glory of God, and we're all sinners, and nobody is good enough. Nobody is good enough without Jesus.
Right.
To cover them. You need to be covered in the blood. I mean, you hear all of these, stories about devil worshipers and all the evil things that people do in voodoo and everything. And, they mimic the laws of God. And that's why they want you to kill a chicken, or, they sprinkle the blood, or a pigeon or whatever. And Jesus is the only worthy sacrifice. The blood of Jesus is the only way.
Right. So with that, we're going to get into a song. This is from yours truly. It's called Good Night. It's actually off my album, The Revival. You can go and get that. It's on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube. The name of the album is called The Revival. And this song here is called Good Night, and is actually featuring the number one host on the internet, Jody P. So you're going to go ahead and get into it.
It's an excellent song, if I don't say so myself.
This is Good Night.
It's just different.
Yeah. I've been up too many nights, hustling in the street. I took a couple L's, now I'm turning the other cheek. The meek shall inherit the earth. I was a felon at first, but now I'm saved, you can tell from the verse. You see, I wake up in the morning and throw on my Christ jacket. It lift me to the sky like I'm wearing a flight jacket. My steps so cold like I'm walking on ice patches. Holy Ghost in me, stand too close and you might catch it. Some thoughts hit my mind, but I ain't condoning none of it. It goes in, then it goes out, and then I'm done with it. I'm sorry, God, I know sometimes I don't pray enough. I say a lot of words, but it feels like I ain't saying much. And I hear them talking, but really they don't say enough. The spirit gotta be in me, there's no way I can make this up. Drop to my knees by the bed, fold my hands, then I bow my head and say,
now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord, pray my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake. I pray the Lord, pray my soul to take.
I was raised in the game, born a slave to the music. I rap good, I don't need a beat, just play it acoustic. The gift came from God, I'm just starting to use it. I choose him, so my life ain't never felt with confusion. All the times that I did play the block, he was watching me. And all the times I did go to jail, it's what he got for me. A real small box and a lot of alone time for me to drop to my knees and learn to praise him properly. If I could take it back, boy, I never would. Since he came into my life, I'm forever good. I don't know much, but I know enough to understand. I want it how I want it, as long as it's according to his plans. And it might not always seem right, as long as I'm safe by the end of the night. Then I drop to my knees by the bed, fold my hands, then I bow my head and say,
now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord, pray my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake. I pray the Lord, pray my soul to take.
Yeah. All right. So that was Good
That's
Night.
hot.
You know what I'm saying? From your boy Bo Skaggs. You know what I'm saying? Featuring the number one host on the internet, Jody P.
Little
You
Baby
dig?
Joe show.
Yeah. So Little Baby Joe shows on that one. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I love that song. I really do.
Yeah, so the thing is, right, I mean, I just want to know how can, Casey Anthony, like, live with herself? Like, it got to be, she has to be some sort of remorseful. I mean, like, when I seen the TikTok, she didn't seem like she was remorseful at all, but, I mean, you got to have some kind of remorse or anything, like, for, like, knowing what you did to your kid, like.
I mean, narcissists don't really have remorse. They don't have empathy. They're not like the others. They're just not like everybody else. And I feel like, there are ways that people become narcissists. And one of the ways is when you have parents that treat you like you're the center of the universe and don't discipline you and you can do no wrong. And I feel that was the case here. In my perception from watching, the way they handled it and the way the mother would lie for her. And don't get me wrong. Like I see the dilemma, right? Your little baby granddaughter is dead, right? Murdered, sudden death. Don't know where she is. Don't know what happened. And now your daughter your only child. Oh, actually, she wasn't an only child. She had a brother, which
she said sexually molested her along with her dad, which was ridiculous.
Right. Which there's no evidence of that whatsoever. And they passed the lie detector test. But I mean, I just feel like, where is the brother? Why did we not hear about the brother until after everything was done?
He probably didn't want to be a part of the circus. I mean, like, I'd have probably felt the same way. Like, I'm not being a part of this circus. Like,
Right.
she's lying. Everyone knows she's lying.
Right. She's a liar. She's a notorious liar.
She's just trying to have me be a part of the circus as well. I'm not. If I was a brother, I wouldn't even have nothing to say neither. Like, get out of here. It's the mother who needs to be talking because she's the one that
Covered up for her.
She covered up for her. And
Right,
maybe the
because-
dad did too. And well, he didn't. He passed a lie detector test and said he didn't.
But I think the reason why he hesitated on that question when they asked him, did you conceal? What did they ask him? They said,
They asked him, did he help cover up? Did he know where the kid was, and did he help? Hide where the kid was. Like, did he help Casey? Like, hide the kid.
right. And I feel like the reason why he didn't stammer, but he hesitated, why he was struggling with that question is because he probably told his wife, until we find out more, until we're ready to deal with this, we should just say, maybe it didn't smell like a dead body. Maybe it could have been garbage. It could have been the garbage in the trunk.
Garbage in the trunk is so stupid. Like,
Right, and he's a cop. He's an ex-cop. So clearly he knew what a dead body, decomposing body would smell like.
I mean, all of them knew. Like, this is the thing that was which you can't mistake. That's
And
like,
she was a nurse.
That's like
She was a nurse and he was a cop. Two people who definitely know what a decomposing body smells like.
a decomposing body is like Indian food. Like, if you walk in a place and you smell Indian food, like,
It's very distinct.
You know that this is Indian food. Like,
Well, that's what they say. That's what they kept saying on the stand, that it's a smell you'll never forget.
Right.
And there's no other smell like it. And there's no other worse smell.
Right. I mean, not saying
And they even
nothing
asked
bad
her,
about,
they said, you've been to the morgue. What were you going to say? Not saying anything bad about Indian food?
Yeah, not saying anything bad about Indian food,
Right,
but I'm
we
just
love
saying
Indian
it's a
food.
distinct
Indian food's
smell that you know
delicious.
when you smell it.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
Chinese food. Like, you know when you smell fried chicken cooking. Like, it's
Or when
not,
you smell rib tips and pork fried rice,
Right,
you know where it
what that
came
is.
from. Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just you know what it is? It's just horrifying knowing that it's actually people out there. And then she's cute. She looks good. Like, just knowing that
anyone could fall for that.
Right, like, just knowing that.
And then she's ruthless and so calculating,
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, not the brightest, but not stupid either.
Right, because she
She
definitely
pulled that
swindled her
off.
way out of
Yeah,
that one. You know what
but
I mean?
she did some really dumb things, though. I mean, and I mean, the good thing is it would be very hard to get away with that today. Nowadays, the crimes people commit are just totally brazen and in your face, and they know they're going to get caught, and they just do it for evil gratification of the demons that live inside of them. You know what I'm saying? And then they just go to jail forever.
Right. And then she would never be able to get away with that. Like, it's cameras everywhere. It's cameras on people's houses. It's cameras on the lights. It's cameras.
And the text messages.
Yeah.
I mean, the dumb people always get caught with the text messages.
Right. Which is
Or their instant messages.
yeah, it's just sad, man. Like, she's just,
It's tragic. It's a major tragedy.
Yeah.
And it's just wrong. And that's what it's just like messing with people's sense of justice. And that's why, and because it was a baby, and it was a little baby that you got, you felt connected to, because you knew the story intimately, over time. And it took so long for it to happen, 3 years. And, it was a riveting story, and it was just a very tragic story.
Right. And then you would just think that, the prosecution had that one in the bag, but like,
yeah, that was really,
it was so disappointing. You know what I mean? Because you never want to see nobody go to jail, but like, if you kill your kid, like, everybody wants to see you go to jail.
exactly.
There's no way around it. You know what I mean?
Right, and then-
2-year-old, like a 2-year-old baby.
Right. And then like how they checked the Internet Explorer history, like that is where they really dropped the ball. They didn't check to see if she had another web browser on her computer, and she did. And all of the searches, the incriminating searches, were done on Firefox.
And they found the stuff on Firefox
After the fact.
And
It was too late.
Yeah, which I mean,
that is just appalling.
And then her mom was the one who said she searched for it.
Right.
But then they had her time cards at work, and then she said, but you can tell her mom was lying on the stand. Like you can tell, like her mom should be in jail for lying on the stand. For lying
on the stand, exactly. Like, I mean, on one hand, I feel, I have some sympathy for her mother, but her mother was just out of line. Like, her mother is the reason why she is who she is.
Right.
And I believe that. Not that I don't believe there aren't some people that are just bad eggs, because I've seen that before. I've definitely seen that. But largely, it's something that happened. Largely, it's the way somebody's raised.
Well, you know what they say, you spare the rod, ruin
the child. And a lot of people have the wrong version of the Bible, and they think it's spare the rod, spoil the child, but that is incorrect. The original, in the original Hebrew, it is spare the rod, ruin the child.
So basically, that means that sometimes your kids need a whooping.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Or they turn out like Casey Anthony.
Right. That's exactly what happened. She probably never got beaten her whole life, never once. I believe that. I fully believe that. Because how could she be so brazen and so shameful? I mean, shameless. You know what I'm saying? Like, so brazen to do the things that she did at such a young age. Like, and her parents just let her run wild and do whatever she wanted. Like, that would have never happened in my house.
I mean, 31 days. I mean, that is ridiculous.
Sickening.
You don't even look for your kid. You don't tell anyone.
You don't even mention it.
You don't mention it because you don't care.
Right.
Because you don't care. You killed your kid. You don't care. And you're so happy you get, a tattoo on your back that say,
Bella Vita, beautiful life.
Beautiful life. Like,
that's sick.
Like beautiful life.
How is your life beautiful right now? You haven't seen your kid in 31 days. You're not hurt. You're happy. You're getting tattoos like that say it's a beautiful life.
Crazy.
What is beautiful about your life when your kid is gone?
That's crazy.
When you're thinking your kid's dead, right? I mean,
yeah,
it's really sick. It's truly.
Disgusting. People like that shouldn't be able to walk the face of the earth.
Not at all.
And it's been so long. And, we're talking about this now just because some new things popped up. But
well, it's because she's resurfaced. She came out from under her rock.
Yeah.
She needs to go back down under the rock where she belongs.
Yeah. It's no way that she didn't
with the
do
reptiles.
That. Yeah, no matter what, no matter what the system say, no matter what no matter what the verdict was, everyone knows that she did it.
Everyone knows.
I know she did it. You know what I mean?
There's not a single comment under her TikTok that says you didn't do it. Every single one is someone saying that she did it.
Yeah, she's just a very nasty person, man.
Yeah, terrible person. Terrible.
Yeah, well, so that was, well.
Yeah, so that's the latest. We'll have to follow her page and see what she's doing, and we'll give you the update.
Well, I'm Bo Skaggs, and that's your number one host on the internet,
Jody P, a.k.a. Joe Show.
And this is Sneakers and Fur Coats. Thank y'all for listening. Stay tuned. We'll be back at it next week.
Have a lovely night.